Yes, there was some real good participation there. Our next part is a Bible reading, and we have a new student this evening. This is Brother Isaac Horton, and so he's going to be reading for us from Judges chapter 6, verses 1 through 16. So let's give him our attention, please.
But the Israelites again did what was bad in the eyes of Jehovah. So Jehovah gave them into the hand of Midian for 7 years. The hand of Midian dominated over Israel. Because of Midian, the Israelites made hiding places for themselves in the mountains, in the caves, and in the places difficult to approach. If Israel sowed a seed, Midian and the Amalek and the Easterns would attack them. They would camp against them and ruin the produce of the land, all the way to Gaza. And they left nothing for Israel to eat, and no sheep, or goat, or donkey. For they would come up with their livestock and tents as numerous as the wilderness, and they would and their camels could not be numbered. And they would come into the land to destroy it. So Israel became greatly impoverished on the account of Midian, and the Israelites called to Jehovah for help. When the Israelites called to Jehovah for help because of Midian, Jehovah sent to the Israelites a prophet who said to them, "This is what Jehovah, the God of Israel, says. I brought you up from Egypt, and thus brought you up of the house of slavery. So I rescued you from the hand of Egypt, and from all your oppressors, and drove them out from before you, and gave you their land. And I said to you, I am Jehovah, your God. You must not fear the gods of the Amorites, in whose land you are dwelling. But you do not obey them." Later Jehovah's angel came and sat under a big tree that was in Ophrah, which belonged to Joash the Abiezrite. His son Gideon was beating out wheat in the winepress in order to hide it from the Midian. Jehovah's angel appeared to him and said, "Jehovah is with you, you mighty warrior." At this Gideon said to him, "Pardon me, my lord, but if Jehovah is with us, why does all this come upon us? Where are all the wonderful acts that our fathers related to us, saying, did Jehovah not bring us up from out of Egypt? Now Jehovah has deserted us and gave us into the Midian hand." Jehovah faced him and said, "Go with the strength that you have, and you will save Israel out of Midian's hand. Is it not I who sent you?" Gideon answered him, "Pardon me, Jehovah. How can I save Israel? Look, my clan is the least in Manasseh, and I'm the most insignificant in my father's house." But Jehovah said to him, "Because I will be with you, you will strike down Midian as if they were one man."
Thank you, Brother Horton. And you did a real fine job with your reading. And that's pretty impressive, this being your first assignment. You did really well. Now, you were working on modulation. And so in modulation, what we try to do is to vary our volume, vary our pitch, and vary our pace. Now, in some Bible reading, that could be a bigger challenge. I noticed that you varied your volume there in verse 9. So in verse 9, you varied your volume. And then in verse 15, you varied your pitch. And in verse, so let me do this again. in verse 9, you varied your volume, and then in verse 15 you varied your pitch, and then you did a real good job. And there were some other places that you did that, but continue to work on that, because if I don't know if you were nervous, you didn't sound nervous, but that can influence how are applying some of these suggestions. So you did a good job, and we look forward to your next talk. Thank you. And so now we'd like